You are not screwed. You are not uniquely messed up when it comes to your finances. In this episode today, I want to share with you and let you understand the fact that your issues when it comes to money is not big, it's not complicated, it's not irreversible. You can fix this. Welcome. I'm Dr. Latifat. I'm a GI doctor and I'm the money coach for women physicians. I'm the founder of the Money School for Women Physicians, and everything that we do there is to educate, empower women physicians to have more money, to create wealth, and build a life of freedom so that they can do the amazing work that they're meant to do on this earth within and outside of the hospital walls. If you're new to my page, I want to say welcome. I'm so honored that you're joining us today. This episode, guys, you don't want to miss this episode, and you don't want to skip on the things that I'm going to talk about, because this episode is going to help you identify the fact that regardless of where you are when it comes to your finances right now, as long as you're in a place of like, I'm having challenges, maybe you feel like you're plateauing, maybe you're trying and things are not moving, my hope is that this episode is going to help you identify the fact that this can be solvable, and hopefully before you're done, you may be able to identify why you're struggling so that you can fix it. All right. So over the last 5 years, I've had the pleasure of like serving hundreds and hundreds of women physicians. I've coached them inside of the money school. I've guest coached through the podcast, through my books, and all this other stuff we've done. However, one of the things that I find is that when I speak with women physicians, we assume that our problems are complicated. We assume that our problems are big. We assume that it's going to take a big solution to solve the problem. And what ends up happening is we're turning what is not a big thing into a big thing. And the way that I think about it is, imagine a balloon. Imagine a balloon, and now we're like puffing up the balloon. We're making the balloon seem bigger and bigger and bigger. And now you are supposed to walk over this balloon of a mountain. The bigger you make it, the harder it is to overcome. So, one of the things that I like to do is I like to help people let things actually be in the right position that they should be, meaning that if it's a big deal, let's treat it as that. But if it's not a big deal, let's not make it bigger than it is. Because again, the bigger you're making the mountain seem, then it's like, okay, I gotta like move up, move up, move up. There is a book that I'm reading currently, or I don't even know if I should say currently, because I've read this book like too many times. And I listened to the Audible today. I'm probably going to listen to it more than once this week, but I've read it like so many times. And this book is called U Square. It is a potent book. You can find it on Amazon. And I love, love, love the points that the author brings up in this book. Is like sometimes we need to go for the simple, obvious steps, right? Because as physicians, we're looking for hard ways to solve our problems. We're looking for hard ways to solve our problems. When in fact, sometimes the best thing you can do is find the simple way, the easy way to solve the problem. If you're trying to like climb a fence, why don't you see if there's a door? See if there's a door. It's like, oops, I didn't even know, right? And one of the examples that this book talked about is this idea of like, if you're watching a fly, right? The fly is like at the window, whatever, the windowsill, like flying around, trying to find its way out. Like it's just there, like trying to find its way out. Like, how can I get out of here? How can I get out of here? And you're looking at this fly and you're like, oh, homie, the door is open behind you. No, the fly ain't listening because it's just there like buzzing away. And you're like, if you can just turn around and look behind you, there is a door and you can fly into like fly land and not die by the window. Cause now it's like, now I gotta like swat you. Like, like those fly swatters, right? Just leave through the door. Like stop buzzing like at the window, and that's where you're gonna die. And reason why I bring that up is many times the solutions to our problems are actually simpler than we imagined that they would be. In fact, I like to tell women physicians that if the solution to the problem was complex, you would already have figured it out, because many times we're looking for complex solutions, but the solution is actually simpler than what you're thinking. And so I am going to just give you guys some examples of like how this may look and how this has played out in real life cases of women physicians that I've had the honor and privilege of working with. So again, one of the things that I like to, like anytime there's something going on, I like to ask myself, how am I like making this bigger than it actually is? AKA, how do I make it take the actual place that it belongs? Meaning, how can we make it go from feeling like this huge thing to like condensing it down? For example, There are so many physicians that I've met that have concerns about their debt. Like, I owe $200,000. I owe like $100,000. I owe like, there was a physician literally that was like stressed out over like the 20K she owed. And I'm not saying whether that's big amount or small, that's up to you. But the point of it is that the concern that those physicians have is about their debt. But if all they did was put in a payment plan, a debt payment plan, and automated and executed that action, they can, like, literally, the debt would be done by a specific date. And so, like, a big problem is like, my debt is keeping me up at night, or I don't know if I'm going to be able to retire. It's like, why don't we bring this down to the most elemental form? Why don't we bring this down to the simplest version of the problem so that we can actually solve this problem in the right way? So, what I like to say is, what is that one sentence that's actually causing you to stress out? People are like, no, it's a big problem. No, let's bring that problem, let's push it down to the one sentence that is causing you to stress out. What is that sentence? I have this amount of money in debt. Okay? So what? The next thing that comes up, you can write it down. So what? So I will not be able to retire. So what? Like, when we say so what enough times, we can start to really get things down into the most elemental form, so that we can find the actual sentence that's causing us stress, the actual sentence that's causing the plateau, and then we can fix that sentence, and now things are going to improve. So let me give you an example. There's a woman physician that I, worked with a couple of years ago. Whatever specialty, y'all can come up whatever specialty you want. But this specific physician had student loans that were really, I think it was like, I don't know, $300,000, $400,000 or so. And she had made an agreement to work in like a federally qualified health center or some sort of like partnership like that, where after a certain number of years, they would, like, the debt will no longer need to be paid back because it would be forgiven or had been paid for, something like that. I don't remember the specifics. But there was a terms and condition that was needed to be met in order for them to qualify for the forgiveness. And I believe, I don't remember how many hours it was, but for this specific situation, let's just assume that they had a requirement of like 16 hours. But this physician was earning what was definitely way, 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 way under market, way, way, way under market. They care about the population that they serve, but it was making it harder for them to be able to have the freedom because they didn't have a lot of margin to work with. And so the question now is like, how can we create margin? They had created a spending plan. They eliminated the waste. They removed the subscription. They paid they removed some of the taxes that I teach women in terms of like how to create margins. And for her, she was doing well when it came to what her spending was going into. But the bottom line is that she needed more margin by increasing the top line, not just affecting the bottom line. And so for her, it was like, well, I cannot negotiate. Why can't you negotiate? Because I was told I cannot ask for more. Why can't you ask for more? That she said that's what they had told her, that they were not going to offer more than what they were paying. And then my question was, are you stuck there? Do you have to work there? And this person said, well, I was involved in a contract with them about a forgiveness program and all of that stuff. So I said, well, do you want to stay until the end of your contract with them, or do you want to leave? And she was like, well, I would like to leave. Well, let's go get some data, go collect some data about what the cost of this, what this would cost you, so that you know the cost of your decision that you're trying to make. And then she looked at it and she said, well, it looked like it was going to be multiples of what she had owed, and it was going to make it harder for her to, the cost was too high for her, really. The cost of living was too high for her, was her decision. And then the next question was, so do you work with them full time, or do you have to work with them full time? And found out that she doesn't actually have to work with them full time to maintain the conditions of the agreement. And so now it's like, well, if you don't have to work with them full time, it means you can work there part time and work somewhere else part time, where now you are completing the agreement of your contract, but then now you're opening up the ceiling for you to be able to earn more money somewhere else while still serving the populations you care about, right? So for her, it was an assumption that she had made about whether or not she had the ability to leave. So she felt like she was stuck. But when we got it down, it was the fact that I don't think I can leave this job. That was the sentence. And then we ask the question of like, is this true? Is this really true? And look at all the scenarios in which this might not be true. And doing that exercise helped her identify the options that she had. And you may ask, why am I going into this level of details? I'm going into this level of detail so that you too can find your own sentence in your mind and ask yourself, is this true? Is this really, really true? So what? These are some of the questions that I asked that can actually help you see that there's a door behind you that is available to be opened while you've been buzzing at the window because you did not know there was a door behind you. And that's okay. No shame in your game. Everybody has blind spots. Another example that I think may be helpful for you is a physician that I was coaching a while back. So someone who had, high capacity to have. And what I mean by high capacity to have is we all have different capacities. Like what I would do that's gonna be like, hey, not a big deal, may feel like huffing and puffing for you. Like if you and I were like hiking right now, you may be like running 10 times faster and still having a conversation. I'm like huffing and puffing. Like our capacities are different in that season based on multiple factors. But this specific physician, I remember coaching her, and this is like a while back. She net worth was like 8 figure, and for her, she had capacity. She had capacity because the early 8 figure was literally her just like scratching the surface. There's so much more that she has the capacity for without grinding, without hustling, just based on the brilliance of her brain, based on how well she creates systems and all of that stuff. And so for her, though, she felt like she was plateauing and was not feeling the way she thought she would feel even at that net worth. You guys have heard me talk about relationship with money, relationship with yourself, relationship with others. Those are some of like the core foundational pieces that is important for you to get as your regardless of what your net worth is. And with this specific physician, she was feeling like she was at a plateau, but more than the fact that there was a plateau, it just, even at that net worth, she did not feel the freedom that she thought she would feel. She did not feel the ease she thought she could feel. And so for her, the question was, what's going on? So I coached her, and my goal as her coach was I was trying to figure out the one sentence in her mind, then standing in between her and the freedom that she actually wants, right? That's one of the things that I love because that's where breakthroughs happen. Breakthroughs happen when you identify the one thing, the one line, the one sentence that is standing between you and where you want, the sentence that's keeping a ceiling over your, like keeping a false ceiling when there is like, it's time for you to shatter that ceiling, but you're not shattering the ceiling because you're having this one sentence in your head that you don't even know, in your head, in your mind, whatever. Y'all got my point. But the bottom line is there was literally just that one sentence, standing between her. And with this specific person, it was more about their own relationship with how they saw themselves, whether you see yourself as like the source of everybody or you see yourself as a conduit. This is like such a small thing, guys, but it's like when you have a small screw that is missing, and you find them, like when I was younger, we had this, standing fans. I don't know if you all know the standing fans because, well, like bougie and technology is like all advanced now. But like there was this standing fans that I would have when I was growing up. And there were times like you could adjust the neck like up, down, turn it to the side and all of that. And there were times when you like turn the head, we're kids. So we're like turning the head in every angle. And we've turned the head in all the angles so much that by now the neck like like kaput like that. And you could take the whole fan and like toss it away, get rid of it, or you could understand that the solution to the dead neck syndrome was just like a baby screw that I needed to find and fix. And so when you find the screw, you fix it, and that's it. The neck is now no longer kaput. It is not working. No more dead man syndrome, right? And so sometimes that's the case. Like that's what breakthroughs are. And I love creating breakthroughs for people when it comes to their finances, where they're like, oh, it's this big problem. My net worth is not growing. My business is not growing. I'm not making sales. I feel stuck. Our family is living paycheck to paycheck despite earning multiple six figures. Like I love helping physicians create breakthroughs because when we do, then you can move to the next level. So this specific physician will identify the one sentence in her brain. It was the fact that she thought she was the source, but she was not the source. She's not the source. So it felt like everything started and ended with her. But when she change that to I am a conduit through which great things get into the world, suddenly it opens up the floodgates, because now it's like I'm a conduit through which things get into the world and people get to the world through me. So it's like I receive from all sources so that I can give to many sources. It's like being an electric car and being plugged to like the socket. It empowers you, right? And so my question for you as you're listening to this is, number one, where are you in your finances? Where are you struggling right now in your finances? What is one assumption that you're making that may be the reason why things are the way they are? And I want you to now start to poke holes, like try and identify that one sentence. And for you, it may be even things like I don't have time to do my finances. And for many people, there's an assumption beneath the surface. It's the assumption that it's going to take a lot of time for me to do my finances, when I teach women physicians to do their finances in 1 hour or less per week. Like with 1 hour or less per week, you can literally change your finances. It's what I teach women physicians in the money school. Our program, Money Leftover. This is a workshop where we teach women physicians how to learn the skill of creating margin in their finances. And the reason why I teach that skill set is because it's changed my life. It's helped me not be afraid of high seasons, high months, of moderate months, because I know that I have the capacity to change the way that my spending is, where my money is going, so that it doesn't feel like such a hustle, sweetheart. Right. So the skill of how to create margin is something that every physician needs to learn, so that you're not afraid of what happens during high months. You're not afraid of what happens during low months. It also is a way to like help yourself be able to force appreciate when it comes to your investing. What do I mean by that? So there are seasons where, I love real estate. I invest in real estate. Many of my clients invest in real estate. And there were times when, in order to like create the down payment for an investment property, it required us like a strain financially, right? But how can you tolerate a strain financially if you don't know how to create margin, if you don't know how to find where your money is, what your money has been left over, you may not be aware of it. And this is a skill that has served me at every net worth. And I know that it will continue to serve me, because even as a business owner right now with MoneyFit MD, where we're getting together in many ways, we're going to serve women physicians in this next season of our own business life. And what that means is like we're doing things like we're launching programs, we're investing, right? Many businesses will be afraid to invest if you don't know how to create margin. So this is not just something that works on my personal life, it works on my business life and the interface between both of them. So if you want to learn more, you can just look in the show notes or go to moneyfitmd.com/MLO, money leftover, actually /money leftover, sorry, not MLO. We call it MLO, but it's money leftover. It's so moneyfitmd.com/money leftover. Go check out the link. It'll be in the show notes. But also, like, we are making sure that things are easier for us, because at the end of the day, life is busy. But one of the things that sucks though is if we don't take care of our finances, not just in terms of like being overwhelmed or living paycheck to paycheck, but even when you're at a high net worth, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not taking care of your mind, if you're not getting the tools that you need to get to the next season of your life, your financial life, you will end up creating a plateau that does not even feel good or wealthy. A plateau that does not feel rich, does not feel wealthy. And I don't care what your net worth is. It may be like six figure, multiple six, seven, multiple seven, eight. Yes, you can still have those feelings at those levels, because you don't understand and you haven't mastered how to find the one sentence in your brain that's keeping you stuck. Like, this is a skill that I apply even right now in my business, in my personal life. When I'm talking to my kids, I'm finding the one sentence in their mind. And so that's what I got for you today. I hope this has been helpful. I want you to challenge yourself by the one sentence. How can you change it so that it stops holding you back and pulls you forward instead? If you need to ditch it, you ditch it and you pick a different thought that propels you forward. It's not about whether the thought is right or wrong. It's a question of, is it helping you? Is it moving you forward? Is it doing the job that it's meant to be doing in the season? That really is the question. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has been, let us know. Whether you're watching on YouTube, let me know what you're taking away from here in the chat box. If you identified a thought, let me know what it is. I want to cheer you on. And if you also listen on the podcast, I want you to leave us a review. Leave us a review. Make sure you're subscribed and you're following. And of course, I would love it if you can share this with at least one person in your life that could benefit, because we are on a mission to help more women physicians live life and practice medicine on their terms. We've worked too hard to be stuck. We've worked too hard to not be free. And there's so much that you're capable of. And I think it's such a shame when we don't achieve our highest potential, all because no one has taught us how to. I'm Dr. Latifat. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.